Welcome to Chamber Chats, a weekly series by the West Monroe West Washita Chamber of Commerce highlighting our valued members. As always, find out more about the Chamber and our members online at westmonroechamber.org. And now, this week's episode of West Monroe West Washita Chamber Chats.
Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Chamber Chats, filmed live here at Louisiana Delta Community College. And this week we're so excited to have David Cole, our chairman of the board, and also with Progressive Bank. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah, glad to be here, Chris. Appreciate all you do for the chamber and for our community.
Well, thank you.
Great asset.
So let's start in your role at Progressive. So how'd you get into that business? What was the path that led you to be where you are now?
Oh, man. You know, I got into the business whenever I was living in Baton Rouge and started out in a little bit of subprime lending right before the crash in 2008.
Right.
So learned a lot. Got into, I guess, the finance business in 2005 doing subprime mortgage lending. Was just there a year and quickly moved over to J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and worked just about every role you could work in banking there. And my wife and I moved back to Washita Parish to West Monroe in 2015. When I moved back, I knew I wanted to be part of a community bank where, you know, you could actually do things that made sense. You had leeway to make exceptions and do what's right for the customer to be able to provide excellent service every time. And sometimes when you're at mega banks,
it's not possible.
You know, you're more of part of a policy than you are actually able to help the customer.
Sure.
So when we moved back, I was looking to be a part of a community bank, and a good friend of mine, Jeff Laudenheimer, knew I was moving back. He was a commercial lender with Progressive Bank at the time, reached out to me online and kind of mentioned they had something available. I interviewed, loved the executive management, loved the kind of structure of the bank, the size of the bank, a bank that was big enough to provide all the services whenever you talk about online and products and things like that, to be able to service any customer, but also still small enough to service the community, to be able to make exceptions and do things that make sense for the customer. That's
awesome. So a lot of things has changed post-COVID. Interest rates are up. You know, what's kind of shifting in that world right now? Like what's happening?
What's not shifting? It's a crazy time to be in banking. I mean, it's a crazy time just to exist, I guess, in general. There's a lot of uncertainties, you know, in banking. You know, banks live off the margin, right? You're making loans at a certain interest rate and you're paying deposits at a certain interest rate, and you have a margin in there. That's what you're living off of. That's where your profits come. And when you have legislation, you know, whether all of it was warranted or not during COVID, but you had a lot of money pumped out into the system, which caused inflation. And as a response to that, you know, the Federal Reserve has to manage inflation. It's supposed to be at 2%.
Right.
And whenever it gets really high up there, they have to do things to adjust and try to get it back down. So with that, banking saw the federal funds rate go from 0 to over 5% in basically a year, or a little less than a year. That's tough for a bank, because a bank has loans at a certain interest rate, and then they have to start paying deposit interest rates at another interest rate. So being able to
adjust,
grow, and have loans, it's a difficult time. So, you know, I think Progressive Bank, like all other banks, are just kind of daily, you know, trying to make decisions on, you know, where you price your deposits, where you price your loans, how do you go out and find new loans, how do you continue to, help your community, how do you continue to help your customers, and also
and make good decisions, help them make good decisions for themselves.
Help them make good decisions, and you know, just kind of paying attention to everything going on in the economy. It's an interesting time.
So it must be interesting to work with clients and help them expand their business or launch a new business, and make good decisions, you know, about maybe the real estate purchase itself, because, you know, we're always generated by location. You know, I think that's pretty fascinating. So what brings you joy in that world? What makes you happy?
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, just it's banking is relationships, and I mean, you know, to be able to, whether it's somebody that starts a new business and be able to walk them through the process of, you know, how to get their accounts started, like what accounts do they need, how do they handle their treasury management, or
Mm-hmm.
you know how do they want to accept payments, and
Mm-hmm.
you know what type of lending do they need, to be able to walk somebody, a new business owner, to walk them from the start and see them become successful is obviously very rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
It's rewarding just to, you know, even establish business owners or established customers that I have, to see them out in the community and they know my kids and I know their kids. I mean, that's one of the biggest blessings for me, moving back to, you know, Ouachita Parish, back to West Monroe, being a part of a community bank, is you're part of the community. I mean, you know your customers know you. You're able to do things like nonprofit organizations and
Mm-hmm.
things inside the community. So I love it. It's
So speaking of nonprofits, you're on our board, but not
Mhm.
just on our board. You've been on executive board, and now it's your chairman year. What's been your vision for your chairman year, and what are you excited about in the future?
The vision. Whenever I rolled in the chairman, you know, luckily we have a great a chamber, the West Monroe West Ouachita Chamber is a strong chamber. It has, you know, multiple ways that it reaches the community through resources and promotion and marketing
Mhm.
and you know, government advocacy and different things. So a lot of things are set up and structured. We have a great executive director.
Oh, thanks.
But my goal was just more of the messaging
Sure.
of making sure that all of our members know how to access us. You know, I've said it before. You know, we want to be the community table of our business community. You
Sure.
know, we have a open dinner table with all of our businesses, whether it's large businesses like graphic packaging or little small mom and pops downtown. We all come and sit down at this community table and we discuss how we can make not only our business community, but the community we live in better.
That's wonderful. And knowing your insights now, has your perspective on the chamber changed since you've been on the board, or what's your vision for the future?
No, um, I think it's been a good year. I think the chamber, you know, I think it does a great job of reaching out and providing the services that our members need. Um, and I see good things in our community. I mean, I see good things in West Monroe and Monroe, the leadership in the community, the things that are going on in downtown West Monroe, for instance, with some of the renovations and things that are going on there.
Mhm.
I think there's great things going on in our community. And even though we're in difficult times economic wise of not knowing what interest rates are going to be, or you know, the difficulties that may lie ahead, I still see our area growing in a lot of ways. I still see new businesses open.
Mhm.
I still see people investing and buying real estate and growing their businesses. So, and I think the chamber is a big part of that. I think the chamber, you know, can help communicate with our businesses on, you know, different things that are going on inside the community, kind of expectations of where the next opportunity will be, and resources to make their business stronger, and to help them market their businesses. So, you know, I see the chamber being a big part of everything that happens in our community as far as our business climate.
It's been a wonderful year so far with you as chamber, because you're very encouraging of staff, but you also have brought to us a lot of community connections through maybe your industry, but also you and your wife are very tied into this community. You know, do you want to speak a little bit about our mentoring program that's kind of launched this year, and where that's headed?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked as long as Chris has been executive director and I've been on the executive board. We've talked, always looking, you know, what's the next way that we can help our community as far as our business community. And over the past several years, you know, really since COVID, the main topic whenever we go to our members and say, how can we help? Where do you need help?
Mm-hmm.
Over and over, we hear we just don't have enough employees. We can't
Right.
find qualified, skilled labor in our community.
Mm-hmm.
So we're always looking at ways that we can do that. Another thing that we hear is, you know, too much of our young talent is leaving our area. Too much of our young talent is going to school here. Maybe they even go through our universities and then they move off.
Right.
And so as a chamber, as an executive board, we talked about different ways. And one of the things we came up with is this new program that we actually launched last week. It's a career mentorship program. And what we're looking at doing is taking high school age kids and really just being that mentor. You know, everybody needs somebody along the way to help them, right? You learn from others. That's the way that society
Absolutely.
works. And So what we hope to do is for these high school kids, maybe they don't know what they want to do yet. Maybe they have an idea that, you know, in 5 years they want to do this for a living, and this is kind of their goal or their dream. They may not know how to get there. Maybe they don't know what their goal or dream is. The hope is that by setting up these high school age kids with a mentor in our community that's established, that has connections, we can form a relationship there to where, you know, maybe we can help guide them in the right direction. Maybe we can keep them from hitting some speed bumps that may be ahead. You know, it's not, you know, I guess it's not our mission as a mentor to steer them to any one direct career path, but to really just help them, you know, find out what's going to help them be successcul and help them get there as easy
And maybe
as possible.
retain them in our community as a result.
Yeah, and hope that ultimately, you know, our area has that job available for them to where they can stay here, grow here, raise their family here. And not only that, but, you know, we're constantly looking for getting people like myself and others that moved off to come back. And the more opportunities we can offer for our youngsters and you know, keep our community, I guess, that kind of young, vibrant community it needs to be, the more we'll see that growth.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for all that you're doing in our community and giving your time and talents to the board.
Yep. And I will say, since you brought up my wife, I have to throw a shameless plug in there.
Please do.
She's the president of the Twin City Ballet.
Yeah.
And their annual fundraiser is a lip sync battle, which will be at the Monroe Civic Center. It's going to be on Thursday, September the 21st. I'll actually be a little guest performance in there, even with my boot. I'm gonna recover and be ready to go. But if you haven't had a ticket, or if you're still interested in getting a table, go to the Twin City Ballet website and check that out. It's a good event. We're gonna get Chris in there one day.
Maybe.
Start
if you
thinking,
can do it with a boot,
start thinking about what artist you want to be. We're gonna get you in there.
All right. Well, for more information about that event or Progressive Bank or any of our awesome members, go to our website, westmonroechamber.org. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Chamber Chats, filmed live here at Louisiana Delta Community College.